Turn your mic on there, buddy.
Well, I think I'm in beauty, the plans, everything.
Okay, awesome. I'm living a dream every day, man.
It's a nice suit. Looks great on there.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I just bought it 3 days ago.
I'm serious.
I needed something that wasn't like like blue or black or something, which is all I ever wear. And I don't like gray that much.
It looks really nice.
I got it at Kohl's.
Looks really nice.
And I always have a jacket that the pants don't match. And my wife says, well, the pants match.
Okay.
Match the jacket. She ever see them?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the June 3rd, 2025 regular city commission meeting of the Centennial City of Deerfield Beach. Thank you all for braving the elements and coming out tonight. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Hudak,
Here.
Commissioner Plout,
Here.
Commissioner Shinetsky,
Here.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Here.
Mayor Drosky.
Here. If you all please kindly stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. When it comes time for the Pledge of Allegiance, Commissioner Plout, would you start us, please? I'll give you a little nod.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, we have approval of the city commission meeting minutes from the regular city commission meeting of May 6, 2025. And that's all. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Let the record show unanimous consent. Next, we have acknowledgement of city board minutes from the Affordable Housing Advisory Board of February 3rd, 2025. The non-uniformed employees retirement fund meeting, February 10, 2025. The Education Advisory Board from April 2nd, 2025. The Hillsborough Inlet District, April 21st, 2025, and May 9, 2025. And lastly, the Code Compliance Meeting of April 25th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Vice Mayor Preston. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? None. Let the record show unanimous consent. Next, we have approval of tonight's agenda for June 3rd, 2025.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion to approve tonight's agenda by Commissioner Plout, seconded by Vice Mayor Preston. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? None. Let the record show unanimous consent. Madam Clerk?
For those attending via Zoom online wishing to speak under public comment or on an item that's open for public input, please click raise hand at the bottom under the reactions tab, and your audio will be unmuted when you are recognized by Mayor Drosky. For those attending via Zoom by telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand, and your audio will be unmuted when you are recognized by Mayor Drosky. Please make sure your audio is unmuted on your end by pressing *6. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have only two proclamations tonight, but they're two good ones. The first one is proclamation presented to the National Association of Women Business Owners for their 50th anniversary. And I know we have some representatives with us here tonight. For 50 years, the National Association of Women's Business Owners has been a beacon of empowerment and support for women entrepreneurs across our region, embodying the spirit that women mean business. The National Association of Women Business Owners has been instrumental in propelling women business owners into greater economic, social, and political spheres of power locally and globally. Since its founding in 1975, the National Association of Women Business Owners has been a powerful voice for women business owners, ensuring representation at the highest levels of decision-making and advocating on bipartisan issues crucial to our community. We call upon all members of our community to honor the National Association of Women Business Owners for 50 years of advocacy, leadership, and camaraderie, and continue supporting its mission to empower women entrepreneurs for generations to come. Now, therefore, I, Todd Drosky, Mayor of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim July 7, 2025 as National Association of Women's Business Owners 50th anniversary. One of you like to speak? We have a proclamation for you in a picture. Would you like to speak first? Come to the microphone, state your name and address. And thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you for this. This is a great honor. My name is Erica Obando. I'm the president of NABO South Florida, and this is
My name is Judith Mergillis. I am the programming chair for NABO South Florida.
This is extremely important, especially on the heels of we're actually traveling to DC tomorrow, which is where our headquarters is at, to celebrate the 50th anniversary. South Florida has had the chapter down here for about 46 years, but we're all celebrating 50th anniversary in Washington, DC, and making a difference here and in 60 different chapters throughout the US.
And we will also be on Capitol Hill tomorrow advocating for women in business.
Excellent.
We're
So
both business owners.
So we're going to see you back in 4 years for your 50th anniversary. Is that correct?
That is very correct, yes.
Wow.
Okay, excellent. So we'll do both pictures at once. So if you just mind having a seat for us real quick, we'll do the next proclamation and then we'll do both pictures over to my right, your left in just 1 minute. Okay?
Thank you.
I don't think the next person needs any introduction whatsoever if you've done anything in the city of Deerfield Beach, especially to my colleagues up here. But we're giving a certificate of appreciation to Mary Davis, Parks and Recreation Manager 1, for her over 30 years of service to the city of Deerfield Beach.
Mary, you gotta say something. Come on, Mary, you gotta say something.
That's what I have something to say about you first before you come on down. So you have a moment to marinate on it. I have a couple of speaking points first, before you come on down, give you a moment to marinate on this. Miss Mary, as we all call her, has been a hardworking, dedicated, generous, and caring city of Deerfield Beach employee for over 30 years. As Parks and Recreation Manager 1, Miss Mary has always had the residents' best interests at heart. She has dedicated herself to ensuring that residents feel at home while visiting the Johnny L. Tigner Center. Miss Mary has never been afraid to assist the Department of Parks and Recreation and get her hands dirty when needed. It's our best wishes to Mary on her retirement, and we sincerely wish you the true best in whatever the future holds for you. You have been just a great employee here at the city of Deerfield Beach. You're very soft-spoken, and I think that's what we all love about you, is that you're very centered on getting the job done and the work and not taking the accolades. But tonight we're going to give you that accolade. And so before you come down, I'm going to embarrass you for one quick second. So when I was first elected in 2000, I'm going to tell this story, Miss Mary. Yes. Now everybody's going to know it, just not you and me. In 2000, now I may not tell it exactly because I don't remember precisely, but in 2017, shortly after I was first elected, I attended an event over at the the old Johnny L. Tigner Center, and I, true to form, was wearing my patented green shirt that I always wear. Miss Mary, not knowing who I was, because I was just elected, came up to me and asked, what department do you work for in the city? Do you work in the sanitation department? Because I had my green shirt on. I'm like, no, I'm actually a commissioner. And so we have actually hit it off ever since. And so that just goes to show that she has a great sense of humor too, very humble. And so we can't thank you enough for coming tonight. I'm going to ask the entire commission to come down. We'll do it first with the NABO, and then Miss Mary. But Miss Mary, come down and 'cause I'm sure you have some comments and
Well, my first comment is thank you all so very much for everything. I had the opportunity to do what I love to do for 30 years plus. I love the city of Deerfield Beach. I love the Oviedo McKeithen Recreational Complex, and I just love the community. So thank you all so much. Second, I am afraid to speak in front of people. And that's it. Thank you all again.
oh, thank you. Yes. Well, I think 30 years deserves the entire commission. So commission, you come down and we'll take pictures. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm sorry. Vice Mayor Preston wanted to say something. I'm sorry, Vice Mayor.
For all of you that that might not know Mary, the things that were shared by the mayor is absolutely true, but this is a truly special, special lady. She has served Deerfield Beach diligently. And you know, I don't know if I've not ever seen her smile, even in difficult times. The city is going to miss you. We're really going to miss you. I've seen her in different situations where it was quite challenging. Always a positive word and never ever disgruntled. If I think one of the biggest contributions that you made to this city, whoever worked with you, if they just got a little bit of who you are, this city is going to be better off because what rubbed off on them was the goodness of serving. And that's what you've done, Mary. You've served and you have made a difference. Sometime we will ask the question for whatever we dedicated ourselves to for 30 years or 20 years or whatever, did we make a difference? Take with you, you did. You did. You made a great difference. And we love you.
Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead, Bill. Go ahead, Bill. Let me have a picture. I did a picture. Y'all give me a family picture. Yeah, you are. Too late now. Go ahead. Go, no, go ahead. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, is that Uncle Billy's phone?
Wayne Clark, we probably wants to say something. Yes, that's it. If it's not, you'll handle it.
We have former Representative, Commissioner, and Mayor Gwen Clark Reed on online. I think she wants to address Ms. Mary while she's here. Is that correct, State Representative? And just so you don't know, you
Yes.
always address the elected by the highest position that they have attained. That's why we call her State Representative. Go ahead, State Representative.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. And to Miss Mary Davis, I just want to say congratulations. It's been 30 years, but I know that from the very beginning, when you, Johnny Tigner, and Mike Chance ran West Side Park with Miss Ovita McKeithen, and it was really an honor and a privilege to have all of you working. But Mary, you always added something special to whatever was going on, and I truly appreciated your input, and congratulations and Godspeed. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, State Representative. We're on to public comment. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are now at the public comment portion of tonight's meeting. Persons addressing the commission shall state his or her name and address and may speak for 3 minutes. This is the time for public comment on items that are not on tonight's agenda. If you have a public comment on an item that is on tonight's agenda, the time to do it is after I read the title into the record and the public comment period for that agenda item is open. No comment shall be made related to the personal life or personal qualities of any person, and no language which would offend persons of ordinary sensibilities shall be permitted.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Madam Clerk, is anyone signed up this evening?
Anthony Royal.
Well, come on down. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, City Commission man and lady. My name is Anthony Royal. I'm the incoming elected commander of Post 287. Post 287, could you please stand? This is like an introduction to the City Commission. Once again, we just thank you for the opportunity to represent ourselves to you. We want to be involved with a lot of things that the city is now doing. We know we've been missing for a minute, but we want to be involved regardless of what's taking place. We want to be involved. Also, we have a few programs that are actually gonna be implemented at the post, like feeding families, doing health screenings, book bag giveaways. We want to be involved with not just serving the veterans, but we also want to serve the community because that's what we're there for. And so that's what our ideals are. And we're hoping that the city will actually help us to implement those programs and help us to become the best post in the United States. Okay.
Fantastic. So, Mr. Royal, you probably have some more time. Do you want to introduce your colleagues back there for us? Just raise your hand when he calls your name, please.
The first one is my adjective, TJ Jones.
Unfortunately, Mr. Royal, you're gonna have to talk forward to us into the
Okay.
microphone,
The first one is
so everyone can hear, but
TJ Jones. And the next one is one of our auxiliary women, Miss Butler. We have the financial officer, Dan Portier. The first vice, Mr. Butler. And Sergeant of Arms is Mr. Spikes. Mr. Singletary and historian is Mr. Hughes. In the back row, we have Miss Whitney and auxiliary adjutant, Ms. Anita. And last but not least, Miss Lawana.
excellent. Thank you. If you could do me one last favor, if you please give your we're gonna hold you to being involved with the city. If you could give your
Yes.
contact information
I left it on the paper.
to Madam, you have it, Madam
You
Clerk?
can spread it around. I don't have a problem with
Okay,
it.
you can't hide from us now. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Thank you for the opportunity to actually come in and more or less reintroduce the Post 287 to the community. let them know that we're there to serve. We've been serving for all our life and we're not gonna stop now.
Okay,
Okay.
excellent. Thank you very much, Frank. Appreciate you coming.
Also, I'm sorry. Also, we're gonna be sending out invitations to the city commissions. We would like to invite you to our installment, and it's on June the 22nd at 3 p.m. Okay? You'll be getting them emails on it. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Madam Clerk, did anyone else sign up? Anyone in the commission chamber that would like to speak this evening? Public comment? Seeing none, we'll move to online. The first hand that I see, Madam Clerk, is Katie Freitag. You can unmute her, please. Ms. Freitag, go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mayor Drosky and Commissioners. I also wanted to take a second. I know this is on the agenda, but to thank Miss Mary Davis for all of her years of service to this fabulous city. Many people don't realize that in addition to the 30 years of full-time work that she was employed by the city, she had an additional 13 years of part-time work. So it's over 43 years that she has dedicated herself to our lovely city, to our Parks and Recs department. And those are shoes that are going to be very, very hard to fill. So I want to thank the city for the fabulous luncheon that they held for her over at John L. Tigner in the ballroom on Friday. It was well attended by many of the of her cohorts that she's worked with throughout the years, as well as several of the civic groups, Historical Society, Kiwanis, Women's Club. We all wanted to thank her again for everything that she's done for us, all the work that she's put into being a part of this city, making everyone feel that this is Deerfield, that Deerfield Beach is their city, not just the commissioner. So I just want to thank you and everybody for that. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Mrs. Freitag. The next hand I see online is Dan Hers. Madam Clerk, if you could unmute Mr. Hers, please. Mr. Hers, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening to everyone. Dan Hers, 330 Southeast 19th Avenue. I always like it when I can start off actually complimenting something that went on in the city. And such was the case on Monday, May 26th. The Memorial Day service at the Johnny L. Tigner Center was outstanding. My compliments to Greg Warner and the rest of the Parks and Rec team that put together the program. It was very meaningful. The young singer and the guest speaker were outstanding. My only regret was that more people did not attend. Again, an excellent program throughout the hour. As of 4 p.m. today, there is nothing on the city's calendar regarding the budget workshops for the fiscal year starting October 1st. If you already have the date set, Mr. City Manager, it would be a good idea to have those dates posted. And speaking of the city manager, it is very strange as to why he has allowed a group of 8 department heads to receive special benefits that no one else employed by the city receives. I am referring to the data obtained in Freedom of Information request number 32627 that shows only 8 city employees receiving an additional 13% add-on to their 401k plan over and above their base salaries. All other city employees only receive an 8% add-on to their 401k plan. It doesn't seem like a good idea and good optics to give extra benefits to a preferential few who are already making an average yearly salary of $213,000. This 13% add-on for 8 special employees is hard to explain. And for the city commission to allow this to continue and shirk their fiduciary responsibilities to the Deerfield Beach taxpayers is inexcusable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hers. Madam, okay, I see a hand raised now. Carrie? You could please unmute Carrie. Carrie, go ahead and please identify yourself, name and address for the record, please. Carrie, unmute yourself. We're not going to come back, unfortunately. So
There she is.
Hello?
there we go. You're unmuted. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Carrie Hellenbrecht at 84 Northwest 47th Street in Deerfield. Over a year ago, I had suggested that the light posts throughout the city have flags hang on them regarding military people from Deerfield. I'd like to know the status on that. And there's two buildings I'm still concerned about in the city. One is, everyone knows, that condemned building on 10th Street and Federal Highway. I was told that work was going to start in 6 months. I don't see any improvement or action. And the other is the gas station that's out across from Quiet Waters Park that has sat empty for at least, seems like 20 years or more. I'm wondering what the status on that building is. That's all.
Thank you. If you'd get to the clerk, your telephone number or email address, we'd be happy to get responses to you.
Thank you.
Anyone else, Madam Clerk, online? Okay, we called the commission. That is closing the public comment. We will now move on to the consent items. Mr. City Attorney, I'd like to take just the board appointments as one group, please. So 3 through 6.
Sure. Items 3 through 6 are currently on consent. You can pass them as a slate or do it individually.
Any comments from my colleagues on items 3 through 6 only on consent at this time? Anyone from seeing none? Anyone from inside the commission chambers this evening would like to speak on items 3, 4, 5, or 6? Seeing none online. I don't see any hands raised. Madam Clerk, did anyone sign up? And I don't see any hands, so we'll close the public hearing on items numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. Commission looking for a motion?
Motion to approve items 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Second.
Motion to approve items 3 through 6 by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Plout. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? None. Let the record show unanimous consent. Okay, Mr. City Attorney, now we will move into the regular consent items, which are 7.
7 through 15 I have. It's currently on consent.
I have 7 through 15 as well. First of all, are there any polls from the commission on items 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, or 15?
Could I make a comment on some of the items?
You may comment without pulling them, yes. But first, let's see if there's any polls. So there's no polls from the commission. Is there anyone inside the commission chambers that would like to speak on items 7 through 15? No. Is there anyone online that would like to speak on items 7 through 15 this evening? Madam Clerk, do you see any hands raised? Am I missing anybody? No? Okay, we'll close the public hearing on items 7 through 15. Commissioner Shinesky, what items, just tell me numerically, what items would you like to speak on?
12 and 15.
Okay, go ahead, speak on number 12.
On number 12, this is basically approving the artwork permit application for the installation of artwork on the fish stations at the city's International Fishing Pier. I'm definitely in favor of that. I believe that art has a remarkable power to transform. And basically, we want to make sure that the fishing pier is always a welcoming place. It's always a fun place. That's the bottom line. And art has a big thing to do with that. That's why I'm really enthusiastic about that. I live in Century Village East, and I've been there for many, many years. And utility boxes, you look at utility boxes, they're bland, they're nothing, but they have wraps on these utility boxes that have transformed these mundane little metal boxes into beautiful landscape pictures. Or there's one picture of a beautiful pelican, and it really enhances the whole atmosphere. So I'm definitely excited about 12 with the artwork to be put on the fishing pier. It's going to make it a wonderful, fun place.
And number 15?
On number 15, that's basically making a public arts master plan to have a consultant to this public arts master plan. Now, our neighboring cities, Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, they all have this master plan. And they also have a consultant, because I think instead of having just willy-nilly, we'll put some art here or art there, I think it's really important to have a professional give a whole plan. Because the bottom line, the great thing about art, it transforms ordinary spaces into a vibrant, destination. It inspires connection. It serves as a visual storytelling. And we want to give the storytelling of this beautiful city of Deerfield Beach. It also promotes dialogue and introspective. So when people see art, they're going to start to talk about Deerfield Beach. I think that's very important. It also promotes social interaction and it stimulates creativity. So I think this is a very, very important step to make sure we have a professional, make a public art master plan for our great city of Deerfield Beach.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? Otherwise, Commissioners, or a motion?
Motion to approve items 7 through 15.
Second. Motion to approve items 7 through 15 by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Vice Mayor Preston. We'll have to do roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Plaut,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanetsky,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Drosky.
Yes. City Attorney, item number 16.
You got it, Mayor. Item number 16, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the ranking of the artwork submitted for the city's centennial celebration pursuant to the city's call for artists, approving the installation of murals at Fire Station 102 and at the Leo Robb Gymnasium, authorizing the city manager to execute contracts with each respective artist, providing for implementation and an effective date.
I see Mr. Power at the podium, so we'll have staff to presentation first and then commission comments. Mr. Power?
All right. Good evening, Eric Power, Director of Plan Development Services. So there's a lot of art on tonight's agenda. And one of the things that we're going to be discussing is the art that was part of the centennial celebration. Last year, the commission approved a budget for our centennial celebration, which includes many things, the gala, signage, advertising, things of that nature. One of the things that we also approved was some money to create some murals in the city, just to kind of kickstart the public art program and sort of activate the Centennial Project. The Public Art Committee selected 4 potential locations, which I'm going to show you here. Forgot I have a presentation to show you. Working? Oh, there we go. You minimize the all right. Anyway, so 4 locations were chosen, and for where public art could be. Those were both sides of the Leo Robb Gymnasium at the Tigner Center, as well as one wall at the Highlands Community Center, and there's a Fire Station 102 as a metal building. So those are the locations. We went out with a company that was called, went out with a company that's called Cafe. It's an online internet call for artists service. We sent out a call for artists. We received almost 400 applications back. Unfortunately, because I had to go through all of them, about 200 of those applications didn't meet our requirements, but many of those were vetted through staff, and then we went and brought those that were fully complete to the Public Art Committee for them to make a selection. The Public Art Committee essentially was given 2 tasks. One, to pick the best mural overall per location, and then to pick what they thought was the best murals overall. One of the locations, just to point out, the north wall of the Leo Robb Gymnasium, we had no applications that met the requirement, so that was removed. So essentially, it was just 3 of the properties. At the end of the day, the Public Art Committee selected 2 muralists. The first is a mural by Michael Farrell that would be located at Fire Station 102, and the second is a mural by Oliver Cristomo for the Leo Robb Gymnasium. And as a point of reference, he actually submitted an application for the Highland Center, but the Public Art Committee thought that his artwork would go better at the Leo Robb Gymnasium, and that was their recommendation to the commission, that those 2 walls be selected for the mural program. Both the murals will be under budget. And so essentially tonight, what you're asking to do is you're not asking to approve the artwork per se. You're just asking the staff to move forward with contract negotiation with the two muralists and for them to meet again with the Public Art Committee to finalize their murals. So what I'm about to show you is not the final murals. This is just what they've worked on so far. That's part of the application process. So this is Fire Stations 102's metal building. This is visible from I-95. So if you're driving down I-95 going northbound, you actually see this building. I don't think this is the best representation of Deerfield Beach. So we'd like to clean up this area a little bit, and then, maybe trim that tree and remove the tree and repaint this wall. Again, this is a way to sort of, let people know that this is Deerfield Beach. So this muralist is, and I'm sorry, this is just the location. Here's an aerial view. You can see Fire Station 102 at the below. And then right just north of Fire Station 102, just south of the Teen Center, is that metal building. And it's on the west side. And you can see it from 95. So this particular muralist essentially creates postcards of other cities where he has the name of the city, and he has somewhere between 8 and 12 different squares that highlight things that are representative of the city. So this is what he provided us. Upon selection of the Public Art Committee, I was tasked to reach out to this particular muralist. I gave him some basic instructions about what we'd like to see and some of the items that are here are part of Deerfield Beach. And he came back with a rendering of this nature. This would not be the final, but this is just an example of what might possibly be part of that wall, which would be essentially Deerfield Beach, some of our colors, some of the more indicative historical elements for the city. And then moving on to the second stage, this is the southeast wall of the gymnasium. So when you're driving into Tigner Center, this is the wall that you see driving in off of 3rd or MLK. This was the original mural submittal that was at Highlands. Again, I was tasked with the Public Art Committee to reach out to this muralist to provide him some comments and suggestions. This is the location, sorry, this is the location of where it would be on the wall. So as you see, as you're driving in from 3rd through Avita McKeithen, this would be what you'd see as you're driving into the Tigner Center. And essentially what he did is he came back with basically color options. There are some details here again that would be worked through with the Public Art Committee, but this would be the that wall. So the area that's in white, those are the windows that are part of the top, and that's the doorway that you would see to be cut out from the mural. And if you have any questions, we have to answer them.
Vice Mayor Preston?
I like the idea of the murals. I think it's a good idea. Question: is it possible to integrate the sawgrass, the seagrass theme in there a little bit?
I think we can certainly ask for that for the Fire Station 102 mural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Blount, then Commissioner Hudak.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Power. I saw a very disturbing Channel 7 story today down in Miami where they had some black baseball heroes on a mural down there, and the murals were defaced. I'm not saying that might happen here, but I was wondering what kind of finish that might be on that. Something that could be wiped off if, God forbid, something
Yes.
like that happens.
Thank you. That's a great question. So some of the reasons why some of the muralists didn't move forward is part of the application process required that they provide exact details to how they're going to paint and protect the mural. So not just from graffiti or defacement, but also from, the harsh weather that we have here and the brightness that we have here in South Florida. So they have to provide that details, and they have to, provide the paint and the coating that would go on afterwards to ensure that you would have that. That's part of the requirements.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hudak, followed by Commissioner Shinetsky.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I love the idea. I love the idea of public art. So I think it's great. The only concern I have is that we just approved the master plan, And we haven't even gotten to the master plan yet, and we're already starting to approve art. It's kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Well, we have approved art in a few locations, and we, of course, approved art tonight on consent. So, you know, this is a centennial celebration, so it's one of the things we're doing part of the centennial. But yeah, it would be in line with some of the concepts we're bringing forward for the public art master plan.
And I guess when we get to the final installment, hopefully it'll have some kind of a centennial theme, because none of these do.
The Fire Station 102, I think, will have more of that centennial theme, where you'll see where it has more of the history of the city and maybe even like established 1925 or something of that nature. Whereas the other one is really more of a community mural. And there are some background images that we can try to add to it. And those are part of the conversations, again, that the committee will have with the muralist.
I just want to make sure we don't put the cart before the horse.
We could put a cart in the back of the mural if you want.
Yeah, we could have that too.
Commissioner Shinetsky?
Sure. In terms of the Leo Robb Gymnasium, I've seen the artist, the potential artist, Oliver Cristostomo. I've seen his work. He's originally from Peru. He's a former graffiti artist, and I actually was in Miami, and he had a beautiful piece. The name of it is called Kalpa. And basically it depicts like Native American and Mustang, and the reception when I saw people looking at it was just amazing. I mean, I've actually noticed people stopping their cars and coming out to look at it. So I think this is a great thing to put it on the gymnasium. We want to draw people. It's a wonderful gymnasium. We want to make sure that people come in there, all ages. And I think this is a great first step with an excellent artist.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there anyone in the commission chamber this evening that would like to speak on item number 16 only? 16?
Good evening.
Name and address
I
for the
had
record,
no-
even though
I
we know
didn't
who you are.
That I was going to speak on this, so I'll fill out the paper afterwards. Felicia Portier, 233 Southwest First Terrace. In regards to the mural at for the Leo Robb Gymnasium, if this is the theme is about the centennial of the city, I would hate not to include in that mural some of the activities and or people that came from or benefited from or used West Side Park. I know in Pompano, they recently had a mural done of the world-class athletes that use their recreation center. So for our gym, we would definitely need something, at least a Pack-a-Rattler uniform, helmet. The old baseball team that played at West Side Park, they were regionally well known. It's part of Deerfield's history that I hope we don't forget, and maybe incorporate. We've had a few world-class athletes come through West Side also. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Portier. I see Mr. Power taking mental notes. Mr. Cummings, did you like to speak?
Hi, folks. Joe Cummings, 267 Oak Ridge P. And the problem, and where I'm from, there's a lot of murals. The problem is with the old murals is that they get dated very, very quickly. We've had sections of Deerfield Beach where we painted the street, and it needed to be painted, repainted again a couple of years ago, and it hasn't. So it doesn't take long for a mural to look bad. In the picture we saw of the fire department, I don't think a mural is going to help that. I think they ought to put together a detail and clean up the trash all around the back of the firehouse, and that would go, a lot further. But I think what I would like to see in like Boynton Beach, they've identified gateway areas of their city. Ours, for example, would be Southeast 10th and Hillsborough. And along those places, they have put artwork, but it's not paint or murals. It's sculptures and other things that, are durable, will last for a long time, and won't have to be redone in a year. So that's just my thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. careful what you wish for. We do have other centennial items planned for this year. So stay tuned. Yes. I would just like to say, first of all, thank you, Mr. Power, for your efforts and the efforts. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in the commission chamber, or there is one online? I didn't see the hand first. False alarm, Mr. Power, sit down. Gwen Clark Reed. Madam Clerk, if you please unmute State Representative.
Thank you, Mayor. Gwen Clark Reed, 1430 Southwest 6th Way. Was of the same mind thought as Ms. Portier when she came up, that in the gymnasium mural should represent some things that have happened over in the West Side Park area, because that's where the gym is. And as she spoke about what's happened in Pompano, yes, they have done a very nice job of putting some of their folks that have contributed to the city in murals. There's a wall around West Side Park that's off from Stanley Terrace. And I'd like to know what happened. There was a plan supposedly to have a mural done on that wall. And I'd like to know from Mr. Powers, is that still something that's going to be going forward? Thank you.
Thank you, State Representative. Anyone else online, Madam Clerk? Okay, I'm going to close it to the public hearing. Now, Mr. Power, you can come back, sorry, about that. Do you have any comments before we go back to the commission?
Probably just go back to just answering the quick questions. The Stanley Terrace wall was in disrepair, so we had to fix the wall, repaint it. There was a small mural that's there, but maybe to that comment, to Mr. Cummings' comment, that's what the Public Art Master Plan will be doing, is identifying locations for where art can occur. You know, city staff and the Public Art Committee are well aware of a lot of locations of where we want public art to be. And that's what we hope that the Public Art Master Plan will identify, and then sort of create that pathway to how to obtain that art and where to put it and when to put it. So hopefully that will be a case. Regarding some of the comments to what could be on the mural, those are fantastic comments, and we'll try to incorporate them.
Okay, I see some lights back on. Vice Mayor Preston?
Yes, the slide that we showed about the fire station, and you saw that area there, how it looked.
Mhm.
There's a reason it looks that way. That's a training ground.
Right.
Okay. And so they're tearing cars apart, and it's not gonna probably ever be manicured. But I still like the idea of the mural. That's a good thing, I think, and it will be a positive thing for not only the fire station, but for the city, people driving on I-95. That's a great idea. But the reason it looks like that is because they're always tearing cars apart and that sort of thing. It's not like it's unkept. And so
Yeah, you're right. And then we're not taking away the training area from BSO, but I think we can make it look a little more appealing towards 95. Yeah.
Excellent point. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Hudak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to first comment on the photo at the fire station. If we're going to allow BSO to use that area as a training ground, I think they need to respect our property and they need to clean up after their mess. So to have it look like that, when I saw that photo, the first person I called is our city manager, and I said, "What are you doing here? This is ridiculous. This is not, shouldn't be what we're putting in, in this presentation. This does not represent our city. And if we're going to allow BSO to use that as a training ground, then, they need to respect our property and clean it up properly, or we can bill them if we need to clean it up." So just on that comment. I love Mrs. Portier's comments with regards to that mural. And that is something that I think is extremely important. So I think when you go back, my opinion, when you go back to the artist, those are the things that should be, because that is Deerfield Beach. That's our history. This is again a centennial memorial, and I think that's an excellent idea. So I hope we really take that and run with it. Thank
I
you.
do want to say one of the things we've also talked about, it's not really for tonight, but there is talk for us to also paint the north wall mural with a sports theme. We've had conversation with another entity who would want to do that for us, but we're not at that stage to discuss it really. But that's part of the theme, would to have a sports mural that would be facing the north that you could see from Hillsborough.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. Mr. Power, I will say again, thank you for your work. I know there was a lot. You said there was over, well over 200 submissions that you had to go through. So thank you and the Public Art Committee for getting your sea legs and moving forward on this. Again, we're not approving any specific artwork tonight, just the ability for staff to continue with negotiations with the artists. So with that, is there a motion on item number 16?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Motion to approve item number 16 by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Shinesky. Is there any, city attorney, is there any monetary? I don't see anything at this point. So is roll call?
I believe it was already approved in the budget, right?
There is a budget approved, and then we would work with them in their contracts.
Let's just do roll call to be safe. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Plout,
Yes.
Commissioner Shinesky,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Drosky.
Yes. Item number 17, Mr. City Attorney?
Item number 17 is an ordinance of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, relating to the provision of services and capital facilities for stormwater management and the imposition of stormwater assessments related to those services and facilities within the City of Deerfield Beach, providing definitions and findings, establishing a stormwater utility and providing its responsibilities, establishing a stormwater utility fund, authorizing the imposition and collection of stormwater assessments to fund the cost of providing services and capital facilities for stormwater management, establishing procedures for notice and adoption of the assessment role and for correcting errors and omissions, providing that stormwater assessments constitute a lien on assessed property upon adoption of the assessment role, establishing procedures and methods for the collection of stormwater assessments, establishing the priority of the stormwater lien over prior recorded liens or mortgages, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading. It's also to set the public hearing for second reading for July 8th, 2025. And I'll just give a brief explanation of what we're doing with this ordinance. So around 2018, the city created a stormwater utility via a stormwater utility ordinance. Shortly thereafter, the city started imposing stormwater fees to fund the stormwater management program. Last year was the first year, this current year, 2024, was the first year where we implemented a special assessment via the tax bill collection method. So the city intends to continue to do that going forward. And so this ordinance basically aligns the annual procedures and notice provisions for that annual assessment adoption with what we do for the fire assessment for consistency. So this ordinance isn't adopting a specific fee or a specific assessment amount. On second reading of the ordinance, which is set for July 8th, 2025, staff anticipates bringing you the preliminary assessment resolution, which will have the proposed assessment amount for stormwater for the next fiscal year. That's it. This is first reading.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Mr. Powell, you didn't go very far, so I assume, do you have any comments for us?
I'm just here for the rest of the night, actually. I think every other item still might. No, I'm just here to answer any particular questions if you have them. There's no presentation for tonight.
Any questions by my colleagues? I don't see. There's only you, Mr. Shinesky, so if you don't mind, just hold for 1 minute, please. We'll go to the public comment first. Anyone in the commission chamber in person tonight that would like to speak on item number 17 only? Anyone present? No? Okay, then we will go online. I see one hand at the moment. State Representative Gwen Clark Reed. Madam Clerk, if you could please unmute her. State Representative, go ahead, please.
Yes, Gwen Clark Reed, 1430 Southwest 6th Way. When the stormwater issue was first brought to us, we were told that the amount that was on our water bills would be removed and put on our property tax. So am I understanding now that we're going to get another amount for stormwater? Is that the issue on this ordinance, that we're going to get a separate amount now for another amount for stormwater?
I'm pretty safe to say no. I see a bunch of heads shaking yes. The answer is no, State Representative.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else online that would like to speak on item number 17 only? I don't see anyone. Madam Clerk, did anyone sign up this evening? Okay, we'll close the public comment on item number 17. Now, Commissioner Shinesky, you're up.
Sure. I think this is very apropos because we're in rainy season right now. You see the last few days. And we're also in hurricane season as well. So the weather is going to be very wet and rainy. So I think this item is very apropos. I think we need to address stormwater waste issues. I think it's very important. I know yesterday I had some friends in Pompano Beach and they said that there were some areas where it was totally flooded. I just recently, what was it, last year, Fort Lauderdale was crippled by flooding. So I think this is very important that we address this, that we plan ahead, and that we have the resource and the availability to deal with any problems with flooding and rain. By next year, there's going to be tremendous construction for 7 years in Southwest 10th Street. So we have to make sure that not only the traffic is taken care of there, but also there's no flooding problems. That's why I think this is a very important issue to address.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hudak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my understanding that the only purpose for this ordinance is so that we could put it on the tax roll. We're not changing the fees. We're not adding any fees. We're not changing anything. It's just every year we have to have an ordinance and we have to have a second reading in order to continue putting it on the tax roll. That's my understanding. Anthony, am I incorrect in that assessment?
I think that's pretty much the case, right?
The non-lawyer view.
Last year, yeah, understood. And I'll try to be as non-lawyerly as possible from
No,
a
your
lawyer,
job
right?
is to be the lawyer. Yours is
Fair,
his.
fair enough. So last year was the first year you put it on the tax bill. This is really getting it so that the procedures align for consistency with what we do with the annual fire assessment.
Right. And so we're not adding any money to it. That will come at budget, whether, in the future. And we're not adding any additional fees or any additional tax. This is just, again, to put it back on the ad valorem tax.
Yeah, it provides for that mechanism
Right.
to do the annual assessment on the tax bill. A couple of years ago, the commission adopted a 5-year funding strategy through 2028 with proposed fees for each year, but ultimately you would be seeing the proposed assessment for the 2025 year, essentially, on July 8th. That would be the preliminary rate resolution, followed by a final rate resolution in September.
And with that,
Coordination with the budget.
And with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Before we get to a second, Commissioner Plow, you wanted to speak?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say that when I first started reading it, I thought, here's a new tax, but it's not, as everybody has confirmed. So that's great. Also, how did this start? Not only do we need it, as Commissioner Shinesky said, but there's a Florida statute I saw when I was reading the material that started this, that required all the cities to do this. Am I correct, Council?
I'm sorry, say that.
Part of a Florida statute that all cities are doing this.
You're not required to put it on the tax bill, but you have that option.
The fact that we need to have a stormwater.
We are responsible for stormwater responsibilities under state law.
Okay.
Stormwater management responsibilities, yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to bring up that point. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's already a motion to approve by Commissioner Hudak. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Plow. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hudak?
Yes.
Commissioner Plout?
Yes.
Commissioner Shinesky?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston?
Yes.
Mayor Drosky?
Yes. Mr. City Attorney, item number 18, please.
Item number 18 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing execution of an amendment to the work authorization with Craig A. Smith and Associates LLC to provide continuing engineering and construction support services for the 8th Avenue Area Stormwater Capital Improvement Project, an amount not to exceed $90,000, providing for implementation and an effective date.
Let me guess, Mr. Power?
Just here to answer any questions you may have. There's no presentation.
Any comments by the commission? I don't see any lights. We'll come back to you. We'll go to anyone in the commission chamber that'd like to speak on item number 18 only. 18. Seeing no hands raised. Madam Clerk, did anyone sign up to speak online or speak in the commission? I'm sorry. Anyone sign up? No. 18. All right, now we'll go to online. The first hand that I see is Katie Freitag. If you would, Madam Clerk, please unmute her. Katie Freitag, go ahead, please.
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast Second Street. I've lost count how many times this has come up, so I'm asking, what is the total amount that we are spending on this particular project, as it has had multiple change orders, multiple amounts having to be approved by the commission. So I'm just looking for the total bottom line at this point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next hand I see online, Madam Clerk, is Dan Hers. If you could please unmute Mr. Hers and go ahead, Mr. Hers.
Thank you, Mayor. Dan Hers, 330 Southeast 19th Avenue. Just like Katie, I've also lost track of all the cost overruns on this project. But before we give Craig another $90,000, I would love to hear from them, as they are the quote unquote consultants here, why there have been so many change orders and cost overruns on a project that our ex-mayor said was the worst coordinated and planned project in the history of Deerfield Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hers. Madam Clerk, I don't see anyone else online. Do you? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. Mr. Power, come on up, please. The comments don't go unheard. I mean, are we done? Are we done here on this? I mean, I'm going to express probably the frustration of all my colleagues, and you and I spoke privately about this before the meeting as well. I mean, please, is this it?
This is it. Yeah. You know what? This particular contract was written differently than the contract that was written for Nucor Construction. This was a time-based contract. We have, of course, as everyone's well aware, exceeded the amount of time that was stated for the project. So we do need to retain Craig Smith for a few months longer so we can complete the project. We do have expectations to be done in just a couple months, barring the rain, for paving. And then we'll be in the process of reinstalling landscaping and going through the shade tree program, where the residents will be able to select a tree if they want for their property. So we are just a few months away from being done.
Okay, we're gonna hold you to that.
I'm holding everyone to it.
I hope so, yes, because I'm sure you've heard the residents' frustrations and there's no lights, but I'm going to speak for my colleagues, or myself at least, of the frustrations on this. So with that, Commission, what's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve item 18 by Commissioner Hudak.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Preston. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Plout,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanetsky,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Drosky.
Yes.
Item number 19 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing execution of an amendment to the professional services agreement with Jacobs Engineering Group, Inc. to modify the engineering design scope of services for the anion ion exchange system treatment upgrades for the water treatment plant operation, providing for implementation and an effective date.
Oh, look who's at the podium. Mr. Power?
Yes, Eric Power, Director of Planning Development Services, Interim Director for Environmental Services. This is what we're speaking to tonight. I want to just talk about this item. This is an item that I can tell you has created a great deal of thought and conversation with myself and my staff. And I do have some staff here tonight that are here for the item, but that we've had a lot of conversation with city manager about and our finance director about, because what we're doing tonight is asking commission to pivot, to change something that we do think is vitally important. So what essentially is this? So lime softening is sort of an outdated method for purifying water. They don't do lemon softening. I asked, no one thought that was funny, but so anyways, we are looking to remove it. And a few years ago, we had an RFQ and a request to design and a proposal that came forward for something called ion exchange. And ion exchange is a perfectly acceptable way to purify water and to move on with their system. So we came before you, we made this request, we hired a company called Jacobs. They're in the process of designing this plant for us, right? Well, last year, state said, hey, municipalities, counties, you're now responsible for getting rid of PFAS. And I'll let someone else pronounce what PFAS stands for. But essentially, we call them forever chemicals. And the state is now requiring, at the time, by 2029, that we remove these chemicals from our water system. They've just moved that date to 2031. We don't know if they'll move it again in the future, but the state is telling us that we have to do this. So upon that information from the state and clarification from the state, we had to decide and evaluate the effectiveness of what does that mean for us? What does that mean for the city? And then in February of this year, we did an evaluation verification process that completed what was called the alternatives evaluation. And just as some examples, here's our kind of our time frames, right? Like here we are in 2025. This just happened last year. We thought we only had till 2029. We have till 2031. Look, construction of things 5 to 6 years is really not a lot of time. We're talking about, dollars have to be spent, construction, a demolition of a lime softening plant, the creation of a new building. So this is not really a ton of time, even though it is, about 5 years from now. These are decisions that have to be made this year in order for us to move forward. Again, some more background. So advantages for ION, again, there's nothing wrong with ION Exchange. There was no bad decision made in the past. It's just that, it's not the mechanism that we need in order to help us with PFAS. Now, the limitations for ION is, again, that it's not what we need. It requires something called resins. Those resins become corrosive. They have to be thrown away. They can become expensive. And it's really just a different system than what we currently have, which is what we do right now is called nanofiltration through reverse osmosis with a nanofiltration plant. And so again, the thought was if we remove the lime softening plant and we create another nanofiltration plant, and secondly, a redundancy plant that can provide this solution, because nanofiltration does remove PFAS from the water system. And it also can help us with what we think may also be coming from the state down the line, because now we're aware of other things the state is talking about, which includes things like microplastics and pharmaceuticals, and trying to make sure that those are removed from the water system. And so, again, ion exchange would not be the appropriate mechanism for it, but nanofiltration is. So we're looking at things that would help us. I mean, by doing so, we're lowering our operating costs, because this is something that our water operators are already trained on, so they're not learning anything different. Essentially, we're buying the same materials, the same filters that are necessary for our existing plants, and are buying them at a higher capacity, which means they could be less expensive when you buy in bulk. We're already familiar with this process, so there'll be no additional training that would be needed by any of our water operators. And again, this does handle sort of this, this robust treatment of things that are coming down the line from the state. The only real disadvantage to nanofiltration is it's not a 1-for-1. There is water that has to be disposed of at a certain point. There is contaminated water. So, 1 gallon does not equal 1 gallon. You lose water through attrition of a nanofiltration process. So just this is a map of our Goolsby property where our water plant is located. What I have here is sort of an overlay of where the ion exchange plant would have been located. I just really want to show you the size of where this ion filtration plant would be. And this is an image of what it looks like. So again, it's a very large structure and it's completely outdoors. So you're exposed to the elements. There's, things that could happen outdoors. It's available for anyone to see. Lightning can hit it. I don't know, just other things being outdoors. So currently our lime softening station is right there. That's where it is. So we have to demolish that anyways. And the location of the secondary nanofiltration plant would go there. So just going back to that for a quick second, this would be a secondary building we'd be doing. It would basically be already in a footprint of an area that we're already using, and it wouldn't be taking over that large area that was previously there. And it's an indoor building, right? So it's a completely enclosed building. It's safe from the elements. It's secure. We can operate at any time of the day, night and evening, things of that nature. So, we have lighting and things like that inside. So that's, again, just another example of how having a secondary nanofiltration plant, which is inside a building, can be better for our operations. So let's talk about the real factor. The good news is it's less expensive than ion exchange. The bad news is it's still really expensive. And what we're talking about is these are projected estimates, but essentially over a 30-year cost analysis, as you can see, alternative 1 being the ion exchange versus alternative 2 being about 2/3 the cost of what it would be in the long-term situation. So our recommendations for you tonight is not a monetary ask for tonight. We already have a contract with Jacobs. What we're asking for you to do is to allow the city staff to move with our contractor, our consultant to change the scope of what the original RFQ was. Instead of looking at the analysis of building the ion exchange plant, looking at the analysis of building the nanofiltration plant and on the location which I showed you. There's no impact, no cost to the current contract. It's just something that we feel is important to make this decision now as we move forward. We don't want to come to you a year from now and say we think we've made a mistake. We have to go through this process again. We have to go out to bid again. We think now is the right time to pivot and make this choice. I don't have a number for you as far as what the real total cost will be. We can have that information to you later once the consultant has finished their work. And then again, you'll see a presentation from us, and this will be a capital improvement project coming to you in a future year. With that, may I answer any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Power. The first light that I saw was Vice Mayor Preston.
Thank you, Mayor. It's important, very important, when you're talking about something of this magnitude, when you look at the dollars. You said it's going to be very expensive. Obviously, this is not something that can be funded from the general fund. Is that correct?
Correct. We have a utility fund, right?
And so it's important to get as much information out to the citizens of Deerfield Beach that this is something that has to be done. If we don't do it, we will not be in compliance with the state. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so if we're not in compliance, what happens then? What if Deerfield says, I'm not doing it?
I can't speak for what the state would do in a few years, but most likely we'll be fined.
Okay. And if we get fined, still that obligation to become compliant with the state will still be there.
That's correct.
So it's important for us to get as much information out to the residents before anything ever happens, to allow them to know that this is something that they should attend meetings. And if you have some questions, it would be here that you should ask those questions so that in the time of implementation, there was actually a plan to give them as much information as possible. So not that it makes it any easier, but it puts us in a good situation that we didn't just sit here and talk about these things that could cost a lot of money. They need to know it's not coming out of their general fund. We're going to have to bond for this thing, but it's something that has to happen. Because the state is saying you got to get rid of all of these forever chemicals at some point. I don't know when that is, but is there a deadline for that?
By 2031. It was 2029. They've extended it 2 years.
Okay. Okay. And so what can we do to start educating our residents?
Those are some good questions. I think once the study is complete, we'll have a better understanding of what the project will entail and what that cost is. And when we know what year we'll put this into our capital project, then I think that would be the best time to do that.
Okay. But we can do that. I think we can do it and that we should. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor. Yes,
Can
City
I
Manager.
just please, as a follow-up on what you were saying, Vice Mayor, is some of the intangible costs that we cannot put a hard number onto it right now are also those things that would happen if we don't comply. There are likely some businesses that rely on our water that would not want to stay in Deerfield. We have residents that I'm sure would not want to be moving to Deerfield. There are a lot of other economic costs associated that would be very difficult to put a hard number on that are not in this calculus. but those are real things that would happen, and considerations for that need to be made as well. So I have to say, Eric Power and his team and the staff that he's been working with over there did a great job in checking this and checking it like how you check in hockey, checking this whole thing and really analyzing it and getting into the details, paying attention to what's going on at the state level and also the federal level, and looking out for the city in the most proactive way that they really could. It was phenomenal work they did. This is all minimized. This is a nice little PowerPoint, but it's hundreds and hundreds of pages in analysis.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney, and also for the not so subtle Panthers reference. Commissioner Hudak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're not Flint, Michigan. So even if this wasn't mandated by the state, I mean, we have an obligation to our residents for their safety. And that's what this does. My initial question was, I now know that there are 3 ways to filter our water. The lime, not lemon softening, ion, and also nanofiltration. And from what I understand, they get progressively better at filtering the water. Is there any other technology that is newer or better that we should be considering? Because the last thing I want to do is build another filtration facility, and then 5 years after that, they say, oh, well, you got to go with the new one.
Yeah. Nanofiltration, I think, is what pretty much every municipality uses nowadays or is moving towards, because of the way in which it does remove the chemicals through a screen process, essentially just shot through a cannon through these screens that can then remove all those chemicals. And it's done in a canister system, again, which is indoors, inside, that all of our water operators are trained on. And again, we would have the redundancy between the 2 plants.
Right.
So while it was maybe foreseen a few years ago to utilize a secondary system that was different, I don't really think that a lot of other municipalities are moving towards anything else besides this.
Okay, and I think that's important too. To have 2 different systems or 3 different systems, that's an operational nightmare. And you got this guy who knows nothing, he's our lime specialist, but if we need him over in nano, he's not going to know a thing. So I think it's important that you have one system that everybody knows. So, there's no worry about cross training or anything like that. And I think it makes operationally a lot easier job for our individuals who actually have to run these systems. So this is something I'm definitely forward. If this is the newest, best technology, because the last thing, like I said, I'd want to put a future commission in is 5 years down the road. Well, nano's not good anymore. Now we got to go with the limoncello filtering. So
I'd be on top of that. I'd be all over that.
I know you would.
Commissioner Plow?
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Power. I learned early in my political career from our mayor that the #1 important thing that the government does is the health and safety of the people. And water is life. And when you're home, you want to have water and you want to have power. Those are the 2 things. So I'm not a big expert on water, but I did take care of the water systems at Florida Medical Center for the dialysis equipment many years ago. We had a DI&I system and a reverse osmosis. The problem with the DI system was everything ran through a tank, and I'd have to call the Culligan man to take the tank and then get a new tank. They look like giant propane tanks, more like an acetylene tank. The reverse osmosis system, I learned, has a rejection rate in order to purify water. And it was at a 90% rejection rate, these particular machines. Maybe they're more improved now. And what the rejection rate means is for each gallon of water, 90% of it is thrown away to get the 10% that's pure. That was the way it was explained to me. So you go through a lot of water. So this is something new, and it is a time to pivot to something new. I also do remember when our mayor was a commissioner, And we were talking about the water system when we had the lime purification, was the fact that we have to buy that lime somewhere, and was almost all imported. And current administration around the country was cutting down mining, and we had to start getting that from overseas. So that in itself, even if we stuck with an archaic system like lime softening of the water, it would be increasingly expensive. So I think the timing is right, since we're past the life expectancy of the lime softening. The other technologies don't sound as good. I have no idea what nanofiltration is, except for it's probably a membrane that's very, very nano small, right? So, so it filters the water. I understand that. So I would be in favor. I would like to have a plan to have no water interruption when one system is replaced with the other. That's a problem that I see. And so we need to make sure that the master plan for this has something in place, because trust me, something will happen. And so we need to have a plan to make sure that people have water. And there's going to be one system's going to shut off somehow, and the other system's going to shut on. It's not going to be like a light bulb, and it's not going to be everywhere at once, probably. But whatever the plan is, I want to make sure there's no interruption. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Powell, I'm going to go to the public hearing, if that's okay. If there's anyone in the commission chamber that would like to speak on item number 19 only, please come forward. Seeing nobody, Madam Clerk.
People, relax.
Got to be faster, Mr. Cummings. Go ahead, Joe Cummings. Did anyone, Madam Clerk, sign up? I need to ask that first. I'll get used to that. Mr. Cummings, go ahead, please.
Joe Cummings, 267 Oak Ridge P. You know, there's during the testimony of Waste Management, they testified pretty extensively as to percolation and seepage contamination of trichloroethylene and MTB contamination into the Biscayne aquifer. And since they are the people that are responsible for putting it there, I think that they should also be responsible for removing it. So I think that's something we should keep in mind. And there's also aeration and UV that could also be purified water.
Anyone else? Mr. Estrada?
Hello, Michael Estrada, 1431 Southwest 6th Way. Just broadly, it's really good to see the city pivoting on this quickly. We know that this is going to be a really important system, sort of the backbone of any civilization having, clean water. And we know that these things, as I said, it kind of got pushed back from 29 to 31, but we'd rather be ahead of the curve than behind it. The last thing we need is for a big storm to come through, set us back. We know that with some of the other projects, things can take a little bit longer than we're planning or anticipating. So, I think it's a good idea for us to get ahead of it now. And I like the questions that we're asking, really thinking through, what's the system we can put in place that's going to be there for the longest time. We don't want to have to keep pivoting and keep changing, even as new things come about. So we really want to make sure we do a good job kind of getting that in place now. And the last thing I would say, particularly as we're talking about the drinking water and sort of as we know things are going to change, particularly with the storms, just really trying to make sure we're future proofing this as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Estrada. We will now go to those online. The first hand that I see, Madam Clerk, is Katie Freitag. If you could please unmute her. Mrs. Freitag, if you go ahead, please.
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast 2nd Street. Just want to, and I'm sure that this has already been discussed, the new systems that are requiring fluoride to be removed from our water as well. So I'm assuming that these new systems will remove the fluoride as required by the governor at this point. Again, that might be something that might change in the future, but as of right now, that is supposed to be taking place as well. Also, but in addition to that, what is the maintenance schedule of a unit of equipment like this? Definitely needs to be taken into account. Many times we put in equipment and buildings, and I deal with this with other customers of my own, from my own business. they don't take into account the entire atmosphere of the equipment and what's going on, what's happening inside those buildings, for example. With a lot of the water that's running through that, it completely corrodes and rusts all the equipment on the inside of those buildings if they're not maintained properly, if they don't have the proper ventilation, things like that. So I'm certain that the consultant will go through all of that with you, but it's definitely something that needs to be added into our budget, into our scope as we move forward with these projects, because many times the city puts in fabulous facilities and does not take into consideration the upkeep that those facilities are going to require through the years, and then they go into disarray very quickly. So as long as we can stay on top of that and make sure that we keep that in check when we're dealing with the consultant, I would appreciate it.
Thank you. The next hand that I see is Gwen Clark Reed. Madam Clerk, if you could please unmute her. Go ahead, State Representative.
Thank you, Mayor. Gwen Clark Reed, 1430 Southwest 6th Way. My concern with this whole project is, as we move through this, the state will be making changes, and we know that these changes are going to be very costly according to what the looks of what we're trying to do. I am asking, is this a bond issue, or will the utilities account take care of all of this? Will we have to go to referendum on this in order to complete this, or will the utilities fund take care of this?
Thank you, State Representative. Mr. Power will be up in 2 seconds. Madam Clerk, do you see any other hands online? Am I missing anybody? Okay. We'll close the public hearing on item number 19. Mr. Power, if you want to address that real quick, and then final commission comments.
I'll just work backwards. So at this moment, we don't know what that total price will be, but it will come from the utility fund. That may be something that we discuss in the next year's or the year after's fiscal capital projects plan, how we want to pay for it. But I don't think that's something we would want to consider at the moment. We don't know the answer to that. I'm not gonna be able to say that. Regarding Mrs. Freitag's comments, the Environmental Services Department employs facilities technicians whose entire job is to maintain our property, especially the interior of the building. We employ 2 electricians, maintenance staff, who in my time here take great pride in their facility and maintain that property as best as they possibly can. It's something that it's their entire job is to maintain the facility. It's something that I wish I could show off, but I'm not allowed to. It's you can't bring the public there, and we can't show what's going on inside, but you'd be pretty impressed. And then regarding fluoride, yes, we are required by July 1st to removing fluoride. Fluoride is an additive, so we're just no longer adding fluoride to the water. Broward County and Deerfield Beach, which is both water services for Deerfield, will be turning that off July 1st. And there should be an announcement with Pam coming out in a week or so.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Plow?
That was an excellent point that you just made about the fluoride, because our resident, Ms. Freitag, was concerned that the new equipment would not remove the fluoride, but fluoride is not in the water. It's a natural element, but fluoride is something that's added to the water, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about the machine removing it.
Right.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Before we entertain a motion on this, I would just like to say that this is a really complicated issue. I mean, there's a lot of science involved with this, and the way that I see it is that we're balancing the science that we know today versus what the science will be in the future, and it's very difficult to put on that that hat to envision what the future is going to be. But I think the nanofiltration gives us the best shot with the science that we know today versus with the science that we think that is coming. There's certainly The topic of the day is PFAS, and I don't mean to minimize that at all, because that is something that is a concern. But there's going to be something tomorrow that's going to take its place. And if I had to bet, I would say the microplastics is going to be the PFAS of tomorrow. And I think based upon the research that I've done and in the backup, the nanofiltration gives us the best shot at both the PFAS and the microplastics going forward. So if we're hedging our bets on what the science is and what technology we can use to address the science, I think the nanofiltration is the way to go. And you pivoting, I think now is the time that one of my commissioners mentioned is now is the time to do it. So I appreciate the hard work and putting all that together. And with that, commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve item number 19 by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Plout. Let's do roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Plout,
Yes.
Commissioner Shinetsky,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Drosky.
Yes.
Mayor, can you grant me one more moment?
Sure.
I just want to take a
4.
quick second to just recognize Josh Neiman, who is our Assistant Director of the Environmental Services for Utility Department, who will be leaving us. He is going to become the Executive Director for the Utility Service of Riviera Beach. So we're very proud of Josh for taking on such a grand position. I'm very frustrated he's leaving me, but we're just very, very happy for him. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge him tonight.
Congratulations, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any second thought?
That drive towards
We are on to comments by administration and legal administration. Mr. City Manager, any comments tonight?
None from me.
Mr. City Attorney, anything from legal tonight?
No comments from legal tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, that takes us straight into item number 20, discussion and potential action regarding fireworks display on the Tam O'Shanter property, sponsored by Commissioner Shinetsky. Go ahead, Commissioner Shinetsky.
Well, recently I've had constituents come up to me and they're saying, this is the 100th anniversary of Deerfield Beach and we're not going to have fireworks this year. And the reason why is because of the ocean barge costs, the weather impacted it. So they've come up to me and they said, this 100th anniversary, we're not having fireworks. And I just want to give some alternatives. I just want to have a little discussion here in District 1, where we have a beautiful pier that we're constructing. We have the Seagrass to Sawgrass Museum. In District 2, we have the beautiful Braithwaite Center. We have the Johnny Tigner Community Center. But in Weston Deerfield Beach, there's not too much fun. I mean, we're going to be having a very rough 7 years with the Southwest 10th Street construction. So I just wanted to give some alternatives to maybe possibly having some fireworks in Weston Deerfield Beach. And then I know it's been discussed. And I know several years ago in Quiet Waters Park, which is both my area and also Tom's area, they had a fireworks show there and it was successful. And, people were very happy with that. So that's one alternative. But another alternative that I want to bring up in District 3, there's it's called, it used to be Tam O'Shanter Golf Course. It's 55 acres of just pure land. It's now called Marty Popolsky Park, but it's just basically 55 acres of land. Possibly to maybe look at that to have maybe a small fireworks show, because we still have half of a year to go with celebration of our 100th anniversary. And for people that want this fireworks show, so I just wanted to maybe explore, to maybe have, looking at it, to maybe have a project manager examine the area. And of course, the most important thing is to make sure that all the fire codes are satisfied, that the safety of the area is satisfied, and most also important, cost effectiveness of having this fireworks show. So I just wanted to talk about maybe having it in Quiet Waters Park or on our city property, Tam O'Shanter or Marty Popolsky Park. I just wanted to discuss it, to give an alternative.
Okay, I do want to remind my colleagues that this is a discussion item, so we won't be voting on anything this evening. But before I call on my colleagues and I see the lights coming on, Commissioner Shinetsky, what specifically do you want us to discuss? What are you putting on the table for me and my colleagues to consider?
To have a project manager examine the area of Tam O'Shanter or Marty Popolski Park to see if it's feasible to have a small fireworks show there to make sure that it passes all the fire code and all the safety factors, and to at least give some information to give an alternative that possibly in the near future, because we still have half a year to go, to maybe have some sort of fireworks show there.
So I don't want to put words into your mouth. You want us to basically give staff direction to study the feasibility, whether Tam O'Shanter / Marty Popelski Park would be feasible for a future fireworks display.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Vice Mayor Preston, I saw your light first.
If I'm understanding this right, I was on the losing side of this vote. And so is it, what I want to understand right now, is it, as a part of this discussion, because I have some things to say, is it officially back on the table? That's what I want to know first.
Well, in terms, could I respond? Sure. Oh, yeah.
Turn
Well,
on your microphone.
Yes, it's on. Well, I mean, in terms of my vote, in terms of the ocean barge and the weather impact, the costs, because in 5 years, twice, it's been weather impacted and it didn't go through. So in terms of that, I'm in agreement with my vote from last commission meeting, but I just wanted to give an alternative to possibly, because I remember you saying, hey, we need to have a fireworks show, whether we have it in the beach, whether we have it anywhere. And I'm saying Weston Deerfield Beach really deserves to have some fun entertainment. Like I said, we have the pier, we have the restaurant in District 1, District 2, we have Braithwaite. Why not give Weston Deerfield Beach a shot at something fun? So I'm just, giving that as an alternative.
Okay. I'm just going to say this. You won't believe the amount of people that have contacted me since we voted no on fireworks. I'm going to just say this, 100-year celebration, we have to get this right. If there's going to be fire, and people want fireworks, I can tell you that right now. There were a large number of the constituents that did say that the drone show was impressive and that they, that thought that was a good idea. But if we're going to do this, if we're going to end up with fireworks, it's got to be done right. It's 100-year. A bunch of people are going to come out. The things that would concern me is with the O'Shanter, Tan O'Shanter possibility. Will it be big enough for all the people that would show up for a 100-year celebration? It may be big enough, but it might not be. I think that if we are going to talk about this, we should definitely consider what was initially on the table of the fireworks at the beach. There, you don't have any issues. The beach is large enough to facilitate large numbers. So I'd like to thank you for bringing it up and that we can discuss it. I just don't know if those other areas would have the area to be able to do that. The fact that you're asking staff to explore it, we could find out. But I think that we should still look at the barge, having the fireworks off of the barge, that we know the beach would be able to facilitate that. And I will tell you, people from every district have called me and I told them I can't bring it up. I was on the losing end of the vote, and I'm glad that we're talking about it now. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
No,
may I
think,
comment?
just one second, City Manager, because I may be asking your question, but I'm not sure. I likewise, Vice Mayor, was on the losing end of that fireworks vote. So my question, I guess, for either the City Manager or the City Attorney is, did we vote on that at the very last meeting?
Yes.
Or was it 2
You
meetings?
voted on
ago?
it just prior to 60 days out, because regardless of and that was going to be my comment, was whatever you decide about fireworks needs to be at least 60 days out for planning. So once a decision would be made on something with fireworks, go out 2 more months. And that would be the earliest that there would be a fireworks display.
So we're within 60 days of July 4.
We're 1 month away. So there's no time for July 4th. So I think the vote last time would have been then
So then it's moot. My question was going to be, if it was the last meeting.
It would have been either the end of April or right at the beginning of May, because it was right at the 60-day mark.
Because I'm not on the prevailing side, so only a member of the prevailing side could have made that motion to reconsider, which I was going to highly encourage one of my colleagues to do tonight. But if you're saying that's feasibly not possible,
Not
then it's,
feasible.
then it's moot. Okay, you heard it, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Hudak?
Thank you. From what I understand, this discussion was an additional date to have a fireworks show, not actually to have it during our centennial. I am not opposed to having a fireworks show out west. I just don't see how this location can actually handle that. First and foremost, there's no way in there. There's no way to even get the fireworks in there, let alone people. If you drive around this facility, there is no access to there. So the only people that can enjoy this are the people who are in those buildings. There are no roads in there, and God forbid something happen, there's no roads out. So this location to me is not a viable spot for fireworks. Maybe the field of the Tigner Center, maybe Quiet Waters. I agree we should have something out west, but I can't see this unless a couple of buildings are knocked down and you get access from Military Trail. There's really nothing that we could do with this property at all that I see. But I'm not opposed to having fireworks out west. So if we can find a place for it, again, I thought that this was going to be in addition, because if you're going to have 100-year celebration on the beach and you're going to have 100-year celebration at Quiet Waters, where do people go? So that's, we're going to have one party, right now, obviously we've decided it's going to be on the beach. We're within 60 days, so we can't change that. But I definitely would love us to find an alternative date to have another celebration and have the fireworks out west. I am not opposed to that at all.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I just want to correct something. I did say at the beginning that we're not voting on something tonight, but the item number 20 says discussion and potential action. So we could vote on a motion to direct staff tonight, if that's what my colleagues want. Commissioner Plout, and then we'll go to Commissioner Shinesky since it's your item, and you can tell us what you'd like to do. Commissioner Plout?
Okay, so my first concern besides the location was we planned a lot of things for this year, and a lot is involved with staff and everything to plan any kind of event. However, we are going to open the pier, I hear, at the end of the summer, right? And I also heard that the money's already in the budget. Why not spend it? I also heard that this is a special time. I also heard from my left side that we're spending almost $5 million for a pier, and maybe we shouldn't put fireworks on it. But having said that, what if we celebrated in some way the opening of the pier with the fireworks when the pier is going to be opened? Maybe a post Labor Day, something like that. If it's in the budget, if we don't have to use a barge, which was the reason that we didn't do it before, because the barge costs what, $41,000 to bring down here. And if the weather's not good, and I know everybody up here knows it, but I'm saying it for the record, okay? And it didn't come down last time. In fact, it didn't come down 2 times. So simple math is we lost $82,000 to try to have a fireworks display. That didn't happen. Thank goodness the technology is out there for drones, so we had something, And so just throwing it out there that we should have an event to have the pier open, not just open it up on Monday morning because it's done. If it's going to be done this year in the centennial, let's maybe look into having a big celebration for opening the pier. could happen when the weather's a little cooler, perhaps, before the end of the year. So that's all I have to say.
Well, whatever you said got my colleague's attention because now there's two more lights. And then we're going to Commissioner Shinetsky, I promise. So Commissioner, be prepared to make whatever motion you want if you're going to after, I don't know who was first, Commissioner Hudak, and then Vice Mayor Preston.
I'm not opposed to having staff look at some west locations to have a Labor Day celebration. Labor Day is in September, so we're still in this fiscal year. Anything after that, it's the funds for the next fiscal year. So maybe it's a Labor Day celebration, or, I mean, if you're going to celebrate opening up the pier, I would think it's going to be at the pier. But again, I am not opposed to having a fireworks celebration and having it out west. Maybe it's a Labor Day celebration. And I'm not opposed to, like I said, having staff scout west locations for, viable spots for a fireworks show.
Vice Mayor?
I think Commissioner Plout's suggestion is a good one. It's solid. It's just a couple months after the 4th of July. We're not going to have the fireworks. People want it. If we could tell them that, hey, when we open the pier, there's going to be, some festivities there, an extravaganza, I think that they would be amenable to that. So I think that's a great idea. And I'm amenable to that. And I'd like to thank my colleague, Commissioner Shinetsky, for bringing this forward and allowing us to discuss it. I think we could solve this thing because I get the calls. I'm not the only one that's getting calls, I guarantee you. No, everybody wants fireworks, and this is a good way to do it. I'd like to have had it for the 4th. Well, we can't have it according to our city manager. I think a real good city manager could make it happen, but that's my opinion. That's just my opinion. But anyway, I
can make anything happen with it.
I think that, if we can make it happen on Labor Day, I think it's a good idea. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay, Commissioner Shinetsky, you've heard the discussion. Would you like to make a motion?
But could I
It's
just
your
make a
item.
comment before I make the motion? Just
No, let's make the fucking motion, move on, dumb.
Mrs. Freitag, we all heard you. And that was inappropriate, and good thing you're not here because you would have been removed.
I'd like to make a comment if that's all right. I had taken a tour, and I'm not dumb. Okay. I had taken a tour of Tam O'Shanter about a month ago, and you could definitely have access to Tam O'Shanter. Now, I'm not saying that the public would be inside Tam O'Shanter, but maybe the firework experts, and they could have some sort of show. I'm just making a motion to maybe explore sites in Western Deerfield Beach. And one of those sites could maybe explore is Tam O'Shanter. Again, it's 55 acres, it's city property. So maybe we could at least explore that. That's my motion.
Second.
We are going to have to go to public hearing before we vote since there is a motion. So Commissioner Shinetsky's motion essentially is to direct staff to explore Western possibilities, including Tam O'Shanter for fireworks, correct?
Yes, sir.
And was there a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Preston. But before we do need to go to public hearing. Anyone in the commission chamber would like to speak on item number 20? Please come forward. Mr. Cummings. And Madam Clerk, I assume nobody signed up in advance, correct? Thank you.
Joe Cummings, 267 Oak Ridge P. Yeah, one of the problems you're going to have with the Tam O'Shanter premises is that pyrotechnics has a fallout area. So when you launch them, they're glowing red. And in this case, it's a residential area. It's going to be falling on people's roofs. If you're going to go out west, I think the only place that is, that you could have it is Quiet Waters. And the fact still remains, if you have this fireworks, which everybody likes fireworks, but if you're going to have it, at the beach, the vendor gets to decide whether they're going to show up or not based on the weather. And in September is the hottest month in Deerfield Beach, and it's also prime hurricane season. So when tropical cyclones is not a good time to have fireworks. So that's my only remarks. The only viable place out west, I think, is Quiet Waters.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. Anyone else in the chamber like to speak? Otherwise, we'll go online. The first hand that I see, Madam Clerk, is State Representative Gwen Clark Reed. Go ahead, State Representative.
Gwen Clark Reed, 1430 Southwest 6th Way. We did have fireworks out at Quiet Waters Park at some event. I don't know whether it was the 4th of July or another event, but there were fireworks out at Quiet Waters Park. So we already know that that's a possibility. I like Commissioner Plout's suggestion about when we reopen the pier. And I think that that is an appropriate time to have those fireworks at the reopening of the pier. So I would like that to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you, State Representative. Katie Freitag has her hand up. Ms. Freitag, go ahead.
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast 2nd Street. I just want to apologize to Commissioner Shinetsky. I think it's a great idea. I think doing them either off the pier or in the park is fabulous. I'm all for it. I'm excited and I'm ready to move on to the next topic. Sorry about that again. Sincere apologies.
Sure, accepted.
The city manager, you'd like to speak?
I just want to make sure there's clarity when we're done with whatever the direction is from the commission. Some things to consider are regarding some of the comments that were already made. When we did the fireworks at Quiet Waters Park, that was in lieu of doing fireworks and a whole celebration out at the beach. The beach was actually closed. That was during COVID. So you have to remember that we have to muster 40 to 60 law enforcement for our beach event for July 4th. And even in excess of that, that's in addition to our regular resources. So there's quite a substantial law enforcement presence that's needed no matter where we do it. If you do something in the park out west at Quiet Waters Park, staff can do all of the analysis for this, but you have to just keep in your minds that we would need a company that would need to analyze the parking, set up the parking, manage the parking. We would have law enforcement do some of the other security measures. And just for the reference for this board or for this commission, that at the COVID timeframe when we did it, we needed to have the county's approval. We had some eagles nesting. That was almost a problem. The eagles left like days before the event. And also we had to get school board approval because of the proximity of the school. The school was closed, so the school board approved it. So those are some considerations that we have to take in, but we can also, if it's the direction that we get, to analyze potential places that we can do as well and come back to this commission with some understanding of the considerations for each of those different sites, for those various sites, if that's productive for you.
Okay. Mr. City Attorney, are you comfortable with the motion?
Yes.
Phrase that motion.
As I understand, it's what directing staff to look into, explore western location possibilities for fireworks, including but not limited to Quiet Waters and Tam O'Shanter.
Correct, Commissioner?
Yes, motion to approve?
We're not there. I would just highly encourage you to get with Mr. Warner in the coming days, just to make sure you guys are on the same page going forward with the discussion. I don't want Mr. Warner, spending his staff's time spinning their wheels if it doesn't comport with what Mr. Shinetsky actually had in mind. But I think we all know where this is going. Just get together on the details going forward. With that, I don't think we need roll call on this one. All in favor? So we have a motion by, it was Commissioner Shinetsky, seconded by Vice Mayor Preston, correct? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? None? Let the record show unanimous consent. We are up to, thank you, Mr. Shinesky, for bringing this up tonight. We're up to comments by mayor and city commission. We'll start with District 1, Commissioner Hudak.
No comments today.
We'll go to District 3, Commissioner Shinesky.
District 3 is in great shape. In terms of Century Village East, we had a combination Memorial Day and the Unification of Jerusalem Day on Memorial Day. It was a ceremony, a get-together, and basically they showcased the bond between the city of Deerfield Beach and the Jewish community in Century Village. Mayor Drosky and Broward Sheriff Commander Adam Hofstein gave some great remarks, solidifying the support that we have with the Jewish community in Century Village. I've taken some constituent calls. I just want to talk a little bit about them. One constituent call was from a resident in Newport in Century Village East, and they had a question to FDOT after their presentation at the last meeting. And I want to say FDOT was very, very responsive. They actually came down to Century Village East and they met with some condo associations and they addressed this condo's concern. It was Newport. And they explained that one of the current concerns is FDOT will have a pre-construction survey on all property adjacent to the construction area. They'll do like a visual inspection. This is concerning the Southwest 10th Street project. They'll have a visual inspection. They'll give photos and videos to establish like a baseline of before and after the construction. Also, they address the vibration and settlement monitoring prior to the start of the sound wall construction. This vibration monitoring program will track any vibration caused by construction or drilling activities. So they address that. They also said that the sound wall construction is in the design phase right now. And basically, when they'll be starting the sound wall construction, they're going to begin in the south part of Southwest 10th Street. And on the north side of Southwest 10th Street, crews will need to shift the traffic to a 25-foot work zone while monitoring the traffic flow. In terms of the canals in Century Village East, FDOT addressed that the nearby canals will not be drained as part of the project. They're actually going to install like a turbidity banners to prevent pollution from entering the canal water. Also, one of the residents from Newport asked, will the residents of Century Village be financially compensated because of the Southwest 10th Street construction project? And the resounding answer was no. So I'm sorry about that. On June 19th, Master Management in Century Village will have an FDOT briefing. So a lot of questions will be answered as well. Also, in terms of Farnham O, with a constituent, I orchestrated a wellness check performed by the staff of the BSO. They came down there and the resident was a shut-in and basically animal control was also involved. So we did a wellness check. In Ventnor, there was a BSO intervention regarding harassment and vandalism. There was a complaint by a resident against another resident, which again was addressed by BSO. So I want to say thank you very much to BSO. In terms of Century Village, I want to give kudos to the city staff because the FPL pole was taken away right on the entrance of Hillsborough Boulevard. That pole had been down for about 7 months. So we finally got it taken away. So I want to say thank you to the staff on that. In terms of my community, my constituents in Crystal Lake, we've had a resounding victory. Basically in Crystal Lake HOA for the past several months, there'd been a complaint that the foliage barrier upkeep between the cemetery, Fresh Meadow Garden Cemetery and Crystal Lake, it's been getting very sparse. So, residents of Crystal Lake were looking out and there was full view of the cemetery. And in the agreement, the contract between Crystal Lake and the cemetery had agreed to always have a barrier, fresh foliage that it would be as observant to see the cemetery. And they weren't adhering to that. So we got the city involved, the city staff, and basically we were able to make the cemetery do what they were contractually obligated to do. So it was resolved. So Crystal Lake HOA was very, very happy. In terms of Meadows at Crystal Lake, I represented the city. They had an excellent Memorial Day commemoration ceremony with Meadows at Crystal Lake, that community. And also the city staff has contacted Meadows at Crystal Lake. They have a new president, and they discussed traffic betterment in terms of the entrance and egress on Military Trail, and also the possibility of adding a sidewalk to the east side of Meadows at Crystal Lake on Military Trail. So they'll be discussing that. And also to have possibly a BSO commander meet with Meadows at Crystal Lake HOA, the community, and possibly having BSO starting a patrolling in Meadows at Crystal Lake. So those are some of the things we discussed with Crystal Lake. In terms of citywide, basically last month I had a meeting between the city manager and a Veterans Coalition of Coral Springs. And something tangible that came out of that meeting that I'm very proud of was there are now 2 reserved veteran parking spaces at Johnny Tigner Community Center. And this is strictly to honor veterans. So we're very happy about that. I want to thank the city manager on that. This morning, I did a tour of the American Red Cross Distribution Center based right here in Deerfield Beach. It's at 4100 Powerline Road. I did a complete tour of the warehouse and distribution center. We discussed hurricane cleanup and how to prepare for hurricanes. We're in hurricane season right now, and also post-hurricane, the cleanup. So they're willing to come down here to the City Commission and do a presentation on what they have to offer to the city of Deerfield Beach. And also, I want to make aware that the American Red Cross here, they have a free smoke detector program that they'll give out free smoke detectors and also help install them to the communities here in Deerfield Beach. I know in my 3 communities, Century Village East, Crystal Lake, and Meadows at Crystal Lake, have already coordinated that they're going to be giving out smoke detectors and helping people install them, because in a lot of residents, you really should have 2 smoke detectors, not only in your bedroom, but also in the hallway. And the American Red Cross is willing to do that. So I want to make people aware of that. In terms of last week with Dixie Highway redevelopment, it was the discussion about that. I want to say I'm in full support of Mayor Drosky's suggestion to make a blue ribbon panel of local residents to discuss the best way to make the best of Dixie Highway. And I also want to say I'm in full support of what Vice Mayor Preston had said, that it's very important to take that first step, because it's like a puzzle. When you put that first step in a puzzle, then everything else falls in. And I think we need that in Dixie Highway. And lastly, in terms of Southwest 10th Street FDOT presentation that they had last week with Robert Bostonian, I want to say that FDOT is talking the walk or walking the talk. I don't know, what's the slogan on that? Because they've been excellent. When I actually had a constituent call me up and they had a question of what they had presented last week, last commission meeting with FDOT. And I got them on the phone on one phone. On the other phone, I had my cell phone. I got Robert Bostonian on one phone. I had the constituent on the other, and I brought it together. And Robert Bostonian was more than happy to answer that question. So basically, I want to say thank you. FDOT so far is walking the talk. And thank you very much.
District 4.
Thank you, Mayor. I have to say that I'm continually impressed with all the things that this city does for the residents, and that if you're not subscribed to one of the monthly newsletters that your respective commissioner and mayor put out, do that. Weekly, we get a Buckygram, and a Buckygram tells everything that's going on around town. I missed a lot of things over the last 40 years being here. I'm glad I'm tuned in a lot more. There's so many wonderful things happening. For example, a week ago last Friday, my wife and I met the dedicated folks over at the Historical Society and the Cultural Center, and they had a Flags for Hero events where you could honor a hero with a flag, and they course, raise money for charity as a result. You can buy a flag for $100, and we got a flag for our family, and it was 51 flags. So we helped set those flags up. They're at the Butler Center. So you should drive by and stop, or just drive by and see all those flags there. They will be up till Flag Day, which is June 14th. And then the very next morning, had a very, very moving Memorial Day service on Saturday morning, which all my colleagues attended. Very, very nice. And then following up with yet another Memorial Day event, this one sponsored by the city at the Johnny Tigner Center. We were all there. It was excellent. It's very, whenever you honor a veteran, especially the veterans that didn't come back, which is what this holiday is all about every year, that just grabs you. So get that Bucky Graham and stay in touch so you can find out what the city's doing. And then I met with one of our fabulous city directors, Jonathan Salas, and we went to a senior Hall of Fame where they recognized our very own Dory Tarlow. Well, let me tell you about Dory. That's a lady, a very nice lady who comes to the Braithwaite Center, right? Our community center for seniors. She comes every Tuesday, but she drives there. She's 101 years old. She's 101 years old, and she drives there to volunteer. And it's unbelievable to have met her, to see her walk up on the stage and thank everyone for being honored in their Hall of Fame. They actually have a plaque of all the Hall of Fame honorees. And I was just amazed that she still drives at 101 years old. And guess what she does at the senior center? She proofreads all the material that comes out of that center, like your favorite English teacher or something, you know. It's just unbelievable. So just in conclusion, I'd like to urge everyone to come to our July 4th celebration. Fireworks or not, the drone show's great, the bands, food, everything, and it is July the 4th, and that's a Friday this year. It's a national holiday, so that's all I got to say, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Preston.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind everyone of June 14th. That's when the city will be celebrating Juneteenth. Please come out, District 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's to be a good celebration. All of the events that we sponsor is a time for all of us to come out of the district and to become one, a family. So please remember June 14th will be a Juneteenth celebration. That's it for me, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I only have 3 issues tonight. One is encouraging the residents to continue to be patient during the rain that we've been getting lately, and also thanking staff for getting on the issues with respect to the flooding that localized flooding we've been having here in Deerfield Beach. The text messages for me started at 4 this morning. The messages with the city manager and staff started at 6 this morning, but they were aware of the flooding issues. They're aware of where to go. They mobilized. They had BSO teams go out. So thank you to all of those involved at a very early time this morning to start that process. And my understanding is there's more rain anticipated. So please be vigilant, and thank you again. I know it may be a long night for some, but thank you for recognizing those issues. We're at the very beginning of hurricane season. This isn't even a tropical system, a hurricane that we're having, and look at the issues that we're having already. So please continue to be vigilant. The second issue is with respect to the school zone cameras. The New Pelican had an article that in detail laid out the program that Deerfield Beach enacted with respect to the school zone cameras. As you remember, the commission authorized cameras to go in school zone during school hours for those that were going 11 miles an hour or more. There was a permitting process and then there was a probationary period. After the probationary period, where basically you got, warnings if you were speeding in a school zone during school zone hours. The actual violation period commenced on May 15th and ended today. School ended today, was the last day through June 3rd. So it'll be dormant during the summer while there's no school going on. But my understanding, and we'll have the numbers soon, we don't have the exact numbers yet, but the numbers of the people that were speeding 11 miles an hour or more during school hours in school zones from May 15th to June 3rd, the numbers are going to be absolutely astronomical. It was going to blow your socks off as the number of people that are speeding that fast and endangering our children here in the city of Deerfield Beach. So if this commission, including the new members, ever thought that that was the right thing to do, wait till you see the numbers, because I don't know them, but I'm told that it's going to be just off the charts. That is definitely going to justify the commission's approval of that project. And then lastly, at the next commission meeting, there was, I'm going to have played before the meeting up on the video screens here, if possible, a news piece that was done on Channel 4 regarding the copper wire that's being stolen out of the light poles here in Deerfield Beach. We get a lot of complaints about the streetlights being out. Well, there's a reason for that. Their thieves are stealing the copper out of the light poles, and the problem is so severe that Channel 4 actually did a news story on it. So if you don't believe us, the independent journalist did a story on it, and we can play that for the residents to see at the next meeting. Otherwise, speaking of which, our next meeting is June 17th, right here, same place, 7:00 p.m. That's all that I have. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Ploutt, seconded by Vice Mayor Preston. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thankfully, no.